So welcome to episode 2 of my long distance review channel. If you haven't already checked out episode 1, go back, have a look. It was on the Excerpt Hold On To Your Heart album. We are now on episode 2, and this is a very different album. It's all a very different kind of review. This review is for the new Machine Head album, Catharsis. Now I know there are a lot of reviews online for this and there's a lot of talk about it online, but I hope I can add something slightly different. It's a slight interest really. Now let's talk Machine Head. So a bit of history with Machine Head. They were formed in 1991 and they're from the Oakland, California Bay Area. They've released 9 albums I think now, including this one, Burn My Eyes in 1994. They released The More Things Change in 1997. They released The Burning Red in 1999. What was next? Oh yeah, Supercharger, the often forgotten about album, for good reason. It was released in 1999. 2001. Then The More Thing, Through the Ashes of Empire, again all confused, is in 2003. They then released The Blackening, 2007. The Locust Onto the Locust in 2011, and then Bloodstone and Diamonds I think came out in 2014, and then now Catharsis 2018. Member changes along the way, but at the moment Rob Flynn is the main man, the front man of Machine Head. He's the vocalist, the guitarist, and he's the only member who's been here since the start. Dave McLean is the drummer. He's a very long-serving member of the band though, so it doesn't feel like it's an ever-revolving lineup. Dave McLean's been there since the early days. Sorry if you just heard a beep on my computer. It just did something. And also Phil Demmel. This will be now his 5th album with the band. He's the guitarist, and Jared McEachran is the bassist. This will be his 2nd album. After replacing Adam Juice, who was there for a long time. So there has been a lot of lineup changes since the start, and maybe because of that, or because of the way Machine Head is, their sound has changed a lot since the early days and progressed and evolved a lot. If you look back at the early times, when they released Burn My Eyes, which is their debut album and was the biggest selling album on Roadrunner Records until the self-titled one from Slipknot came out finally. And that was the pioneer of the sort of Bay Area thrash metal sound, with all leanings towards groove metal. And songs like Old and Davidian are still mainstays, you know, in rock clubs around the world. And they're rock classics nowadays. They followed that up with The More Things Change, a very underrated album in my eyes, and my favourite Machine Head album. It went more groovier, slightly darker, I felt. But still has some absolute cracking songs on there. Struck a Nerve, 10 Ton Hammer, brilliant songs. They then entered their new metal phase, let's say, 1999 with Burning Red. I still don't think it's new metal. It got a lot of new metal and rap metal tags thrown at it. I never saw it as rap metal. I think there's rapping in From This Day, the song From This Day. But really there's a lot of good stuff on the album, and it's often sort of criticised, that album. But I think it's a great, 5 is a fantastic song. There are some good stuff on the Desire to Fire is a great song as well. So it's not, but their look changed. I'm going to try and get a picture of them up somewhere around there for that one. And yeah, I guess it leaned towards new metal. It's 1999. Who wasn't doing new metal in 1999? They then followed it up in 2001, like I said, with Supercharger, which was, let's say, a bit of a turkey. Not a good album. It continued sort of down the new metal road. But it felt to me very sort of haphazard, very sloppy, very just rushed. The lyrics were not good. More about lyrics later. And it didn't really have a lot going for it. And to be honest, at this point in time, Machine Head's popularity was really on the wane. They couldn't sell albums. They couldn't find a label, of all things, and their popularity had gone from what such a promising start. But then they came back with Through the Ashes of Empires, which was a great album. Returned to their groove metal roots. They're more with huge melodic choruses still, but That really was a great album. It's got some of the best songs on it. Imperium is a fantastic song. And from then on, they pushed on and released the critically acclaimed Blackening. But they looked towards more of a technical metal then. They sort of went more sort of prog metal, technical metal, more heavy metal, let's just say, traditional heavy metal. But there was a lot of longer songs, epic songs, and it was in critics' top 10 albums of the year worldwide. It was a huge acclaim, and that really should have catapulted the band onto bigger and better things, but it never really did. And then when they released Locust in sort of 2014, they kind of trod water with it. A similar sound, maybe slightly even longer songs and more. Had everyone got bored of the longer, epic sort of progressive metal of Machine Head? Maybe. It wasn't a great album to me. It was a bit boring, in fact. A couple of good songs on it, but I was starting to lose interest in Machine Head by this time. And then they released Bloodstone and Diamonds in 2014. Sorry, I'm getting all my dates wrong now. Anyway, Bloodstone and Diamonds came out after Locust. Locust was 11, and Bloodstone and Diamonds was 2014. That's right. And that was kind of again similar. And it felt like they'd done 3 albums of the same thing and not really got anywhere with it. And I think that's kind of the point I'm trying to make, is that they never really got anywhere with what they were doing with those 3 albums. They should have. But they've not been a band who's been scared to change their sound and evolve. They've always evolved. Like I say, band members have changed and come and gone. But they've always evolved their sound, starting from the thrash metal early days down to into the new metal and shit metal, and up to the technical metal and progressive metal and heavy metal of the later days. So they've never been a band scared to change. And I suppose when they got to this stage, it's what do we do? How can we progress now? Do we just tread water again and do another album of the same type of material? Do we try something new? So they're not a band who's been scared to try something new. And Rob Flynn is not a person who's scared of anyone, really. He is a very artistic and forthright, stubborn individual. He will do what he wants, and that's great, and I think that's fantastic in him. Does it always work? No, it doesn't. So we come on to Catharsis. Now, the background to this album. Last year, in 2017, they released a standalone single called Is There Anybody Out There? It's not on this album, it wasn't on any albums, it was just on its own standalone single, and it was more new metal-y, not even new metal-y, it was just a traditional sort of groove metal song with a big chorus. It was standard metal, didn't really get anyone excited, didn't really get the people going, oh wow, what Machine Head are doing. It was just, okay, was that a prelude to what we're going to see? We weren't sure at the time. Then Rob Flynn came out before this album and said, look, don't expect our heaviest stuff, don't expect we're going back to our grooviest, more melodic kind of things. The lyrics are all direct and blunt, everything's stripped down. I prefer that kind of thing. I like the hip-hop sort of style influence of the lyrics. So we were warned, really, of what to expect. So on to the album. The album opens up with the song Volatile. And it's a standard Machine Head opener. Not as good as Davidian, not as good as Imperium, probably not as good as a couple of other opening tracks, but it's alright. It's got the groove element, it's got the standard pinch harmonics that Machine Head put throughout their music. The lyrics aren't great. We're immediately apparent that the lyrics are not the best. Standard sort of cliches throughout. Break it, smash it, burn it to the ground. Seems like a bit teenage angst more than anything else to me. Now let's see, lyrics are a big talking point of this album. As Flynn already said, they were going to be direct, to the point. He's not going to beat around the bush, he's just going to spit his lyrics out there, and there they are, front and centre, direct, in your face. And there's no metaphors, this is what I'm talking about. But it comes across as very amateurish, very sloppy, and in places just cliched and unlistenable at times. You think, what? You could do better than this. 4 years we've been waiting for this? You could do better than this. The songs, the Volatile's not the worst one on the cards. The Triple Beam, California Bleeding, Razor Blade Smile are the 3 guiltiest ones. And even Catharsis, the title track's not a bad song, but the cliched lyrics of Music in My Veins, You know, we can do better than that, surely. But you can't. The lyrics throughout this album are dreadful at times, and I find them, you know, unlistenable. It's cringeworthy. You end up cringing. Oh, do you really say that, Rob? Oh, come on, you can do better than that. It's not even like all the music's terrible. Some of the music's alright. I like Catharsis, I like Beyond the Pale. The songs released before the album came out: Catharsis, Beyond the Pale, Volatile, Bastards, we'll come on to that. They're alright. They're okay. Musically, they're okay. But the lyrics are just, they drag them down to another level. And when the lyrics are that bad and the songs are only okay, it really goes down. And the album continues with California Bleeding, like I say, Triple Beam. Triple Beam's dreadful. It's a song about his sort of drug dealing days of Rob Flynn, and with some of the worst lyrics you'll see going. What is it? Powder on the triple beam, girls around my neck. No money? Well, that's okay, she can pay with sex. Nah, no thanks. Skip. Yeah, it's some bad ones on there. And then we get, you know, Kaleidoscope. Actually, I like the song. You know, it opens up with the odd hand claps, which people will hate. I don't mind it. I like it when Machine Head go punk, and they go punk really well on that song. The lyrics again are terrible, but I can't keep going on about how bad the lyrics are because it's just such a big talking point on the album. Kaleidoscope's alright, but really it's like saying it's the worst smelling shit on this album. It's a decent enough song, my favourite on the album. It's a bit of a mosh pit starter, big chorus, big sing-along chorus. And then really it hits Bastards. Now Bastards is a song that did come out before the album and it's been around on YouTube a while. They had an acoustic version of it on YouTube, and this is the sort of slightly more, you know, rockier version. I don't know what to call it. It's a folk, punk, sort of Irish. It sounds like a Dropkick Murphys song. And it's a folk song sung by Rob Flynn. The first verse, he says, was a conversation with his sons, where he was telling his sons about the state of the world. The second verse is sort of a continuation of that. It's all about the way the world is at the moment. It's a very anti-Trump song, and it conveys a political message. Great, that's great. I love people putting their messages into their art. They've got to. That's what art is. There's no point, you know, if you've got a soapbox, you can, you know, influence views. Then great, you should use that. That's what art's all about. And the moral message is fantastic. I think it's great. The way it's done, you know, some of the language in it, he uses the words faggots, spics, and he drops the N-bomb. And in the context of the song, I guess that's fine. It's not an offensive way of doing it. It's done in a way that he is implying that that's what other people call them, but he's more accepting and he wants the world to be more accepting. Is it necessary? Not at all. The message from the song is obvious. It doesn't need that. Is it a shock value? Is it you know, a shocking thing to get people, oh wow, look what he's saying? I hope not. I don't think he's that kind of person. But the song itself is a Machine Head throwaway song. It's a B-side. It seems out of place on here anyway. Now, this is where the album should have ended. It would end at number 6, Bastards. Finish there. It's a weird little EP, a curiosity in their back catalogue. People would go, oh, do you remember that Catharsis EP that came out? Had a couple of good songs on it and a load of shit. Well, I'm glad they didn't carry on with that. But they do carry on with it. And it's the second half of the album that really, really drags. This is 74 minutes long, this album. 15 songs. You really drags after Bastards, sorry. It really goes on and on. You get the songs like Heavy Lies the Crown is an 8-minute epic about Louis XI of France, who called himself the Spider King. I mean, Flynn's lyrics go totally Spinal Tap here. And, you know, for someone who said they were going to be direct and less metaphoric, this is an odd one. And it doesn't fit on the album anyway. It sounds completely out of place. There's just forgettable songs. Hope Begets Hope. Forgettable. Screaming at the Sun. Really forgettable. And it's when we get right to the end and you get to Razorblade Smile, which is the worst song on the album. The lyrics are embarrassing. You can't listen to it. It's meant to be like a tribute song to Lemmy. It's got the Motorhead riff in there. But it's embarrassing. I mean, there's one line in it, what is it? Gonna fuck your borders, barbed wire dick. Well, that's the end of the song for me. No more for me, thanks. Just dreadful. And it's unlistenable. It makes the song unlistenable. And it's not a good song anyway. The music isn't worthy enough for me to go, ah, well, never mind, they were a bit, the lyrics were a bit shit, but we can continue. But that's it, really. 74 minutes. Eulogy's the last song, totally throw away, no need for that to be there. And it's a shame, it's a real shame. I've got a lot of time for Machine Head, a lot of time, and I'm not giving up on them. I'm going to put a pin in them and see where they go next, because I'm interested to see where they go next. They could, I mean, the backlash from this album is going to be big. Let's be honest, it already is. The critics hate it, the fans pretty much hate it. And the backlash is going to be big. I've got a feeling they're going to do a 25th anniversary tour next year of Burn My Eyes. That should really help. Maybe help them see sense. But yeah, the next step's going to be an interesting one. And what I will say about this album is there was a lot of hate on the internet for it before it even came out. And it seemed like whatever they did on this album, they were going to get pummeled for. I'm not sure why, it just seemed to be the flavour of the month to do it. Or what I will say is go out and give it a go. Don't just hate it because everyone else is. Don't be a sheep. Don't just follow the herd. Don't just write comments going, well, Machine Head are shit, Machine Head are shit. Go listen to it and then say Machine Head are shit. You've got every right to if you listen to this album. There's not a lot going for it. I will put it on the shelf. I will never listen to it again. And I will hope they will go on to better things. So that's it really. Thanks for watching. And we'll see what happens next time. What review I'll do next. I'm not too sure at the moment. But I'll put a couple more reviews up very soon. Thanks very much. Cheers.